Check, check.
What if I guaranteed you 1 million views or you didn't pay anything? That's not a pitch. That's literally our offer. Here's why we
Hello, hello. This is Wayne the Wizard Wallace here, and I am coming to you live from fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. And let me make sure all my audio is coming through. Okay, there we go. And let me check my Facebook and YouTube streams here. Make sure everything's working properly. Okay, I think YouTube is working. Let's check Facebook here. Okay, I think YouTube is working. Let's check Facebook here. Okay, I think YouTube is working. Let's check Facebook here. Okay, trying to find my live here. There it is. All right.
Trying to find my live here. There it is.
Okay. Everybody's getting the audio. Let me go ahead and turn these off. All right, so it is 2 p.m. on Sunday. The date is August 2nd. Can you believe it's August already? Let me get this out of the way. Okay, so as I said, my name is Wayne the Wizard Wallace, and every weekend I go live 3 times here in my AI Content Creators Club. I go live on Saturday at, I believe it's 3 p.m. No, let me go look. I don't remember what time I go live. But I go live on Saturday in the evening, and then I go live on Sunday in the morning and in the afternoon right now. So I go live inside my community, and I'm doing a special live today just to come share what I'm doing at AIContentCreatorsClub.com. So why did I start AIContentCreatorsClub.com? Well, I started it because AI is a brand new thing for all of us. Nobody grew up with it. And when I started in photography back in the good old days, I had this film camera right here, and I went to a camera club. Some people go to book clubs and they read a book together. There's a lot of those, especially online. And I've seen a lot of people out there pitching and selling AI tools and AI courses, but I haven't seen anyone that created an AI club. So I said, well, let me create one. We are all content creators, if you haven't noticed. Even Facebook calls us digital creators or content creators. It seems like everybody and their brother is a content creator. And then I realized that, oh, that's just like a default thing for Facebook. So look on your profile. You're probably labeled as a content creator if you turned on that option. So we are all content creators, whether we're creating photos or videos or any kind of written content. We are all content creators. And AI is a very popular tool now for creating content. So let me go ahead and get my screens set up here. And I'm going to share some things with you. So I've got the terminal window here. So if you've never been a programmer or a techie, you may not know what the terminal window is. It's basically an area of the computer where you can talk to your computer. Most of you probably use Windows or Mac, and it has a pretty user interface where you can click on little pictures, little icons, that's not really talking to the computer. That's clicking interface that someone built, like a little icon. But back in the old days of computers, you would just type to the computer. So let me see if I still have this picture on my computer here. I think I do. Let me go ahead and look for it. What did I name it? There it is. Okay, this right here is one of the original games that was created at MIT. It's called Colossal Cave Adventure. And when I was just a kid, my mother worked at MIT, and she brought me to MIT to play this game because they asked, hey, parents, if you have kids, bring them into the computer lab, the AI lab, it was actually called, and let your kids play this game. And it was a terminal into a mainframe computer. And that's where the word terminal comes from, because you would have a physical terminal. And when you typed on that terminal into the screen that you see here, then it would talk to the big mainframe computer. So this itself, what you're looking at, is not a computer. It's a terminal. And the instructions were sent from the terminal to the mainframe. And then the mainframe computer came back with whatever the result was of your command. And you see those big white things right there on the right, hanging in that little cabinet? Those are tapes. Those are like big tape reels. And when I first started working with computers at Raytheon Missile Division, right out of high school, I used to do backups on those tapes. That's how we backed stuff up that was on the computer. Very different now, right? Now you don't even back stuff up. You just put it in the cloud. So, although you should have a backup, if you're smart, you should have hard drives. I have tons of hard drives with backups of stuff that I've created. But that's what we did back in the old days, is we used tape reels and we would back up stuff on the computer or off of the computer. So let me get my Facebook windows up here so I can see if anyone is commenting or chatting, and I can answer their questions. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment. And let me make this bigger so I can actually see the comments. Okay. And also on YouTube, if you have any comments, feel free to leave them as well. So this is a terminal, and this is a terminal. So this new modern type of terminal lives inside your computer. And it's just a program that has a command line. So if I clear the screen, CLS, this is what it looks like when you log into the terminal. It normally puts you in your home directory, and my home directory is C users Wayne. because I'm using a Windows computer. If I was using a Mac computer, the path would be different. It'd be whatever it is on the Mac. I don't remember. I haven't used a Mac in a while. And then on a Linux machine, it would be similar as well. So I love Linux. I use Linux all the time. And actually, I wonder if I can run, let me see if I can run Linux on my, I haven't run Linux on my machine in a while, so I don't know if it's going to work. I think it will. So there's a very popular version of Linux. Yep, there it is right there. How about that? So let me put that on the right. So on the right, I have my Windows running Ubuntu. And then on the left, I have my Windows PowerShell terminal. There's also another terminal called CMD. So this is the standard Microsoft Windows command line. So if I type ls here, it's not going to work because this is not a Unix-like terminal. If I type dir, that will work in this terminal window. So let's arrange these. So let's put that one up there. And let's put that one down there. Okay, so now I have 3 terminal windows. I have a DOS, what used to be DOS terminal. Let's see if I type VER, what happens. Yeah, it just says Microsoft Windows. But back when I started with the computers, when computers first came out, I used what's called a 286 computer. And we'll look on Wikipedia. And I'll show you what a 286 computer looked like. Actually, let's do, I don't think that's going to show me. It's probably going to show me a chip. Yeah, showing me a chip. Let me bring it over here and I'll put it in this window here. So this is the Intel 286 chip, and that was one of the first chips that we had for computers. So let's see, when did this come out? It came out in 1985. July/August, this time of year. How about that? Let's look at the IBM PC 286. Oh, look at that! It's IMB. Doesn't know what an IMB is. IBM. See, AI would have known that I made a mistake. Not Wikipedia, though. There we go. There's a personal computer. So for all of you younger folks, this is what the first PCs looked like. They were tanks, okay? And for those of you watching on Facebook, you may want to see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to share my can't even talk today. I'm going to share my YouTube channel so you can see what I'm talking about.
YouTube channel.
There we go. Where's my live? I should be live. How come I don't see my live? Yeah, there's my live right there. Okay, so this is my YouTube channel. So if you want to see what I'm talking about, if you're following me on Facebook, let me go find my other Facebook channel. No, not that one. Let's go over here. And there I am. There's the live right there. Okay, so there's my YouTube channel for you on Facebook, so you can see what I'm up to. And let me see if I can. There we go. Just like that. Yep, you both have the comments. Okay, good. Okay, so back to YouTube. So this is what the original like IBM PC looked like. And it was a tank. But when I bought my first 286 computer, it came with DOS. And DOS was the predecessor to Windows. So Microsoft, they would sell this thing called DOS. It was an operating system. And let's go look on Wikipedia and look up DOS operating system. So let's see what it says here. DOS is a family of disk-based operating systems for IBM PC computers. It primarily consists of IBM PC DOS and a rebranded version, Microsoft MS-DOS, both of which were introduced in 1981. Later, compatible systems from other manufacturers are Dr. DOS, ROM-DOS, PTS-DOS, and FreeDOS. So I actually had Dr. DOS because I bought my computer from a guy that built computers. I didn't have an official IBM computer. There were a lot of people out there making IBM kind of lookalikes, right? Because everything was standardized, like all the parts, it was all standardized. So people just started making their own versions of all these computer parts. And you didn't have to buy it from IBM, but you still needed an operating system. And if you wanted to use IBM's PC DOS or Microsoft's MS-DOS, then you had to buy a license. Well, these other manufacturers decided to create their own versions of DOS that maybe had more features or whatever. And FreeDOS, I never used it, but if I had known about it back then, I probably would have, because it is free software. So FreeDOS, formerly PD-DOS, is a free operating system for IBM PC compatible computers. It intends to provide complete MS-DOS capability, compatible. I don't know why I can't read. So MS-DOS compatible environment for running legacy software and supporting embedded systems. FreeDOS can be booted from a floppy disk or a flash drive, and it is designed to run well under virtualization or x86 emulation. So FreeDOS is probably still available. Let's go look down here and see. As of 2025, it was released, the latest release. So if we go to GitHub, FDOS, then we can actually download a copy of FreeDOS. So let's make this window bigger. Let's skip. So here's FreeDOS right here. And if you go to fdos.org, then we can look at so technically you could still download it. I would probably not do that unless I had a computer that I didn't care about, because it may be loaded with a virus or something. But you never know. But this distribution contains a collection of the core FreeDOS programs. All programs are provided in a source form that should be usable for development and building releases. So this is free software. And typically with free software, you can go download the full source code and modify it and re-release it into the world as your own software. So let's see what kind of license this has. I'm going to do a search for license. It doesn't say. Let's go back to the wiki page, because it should have all that information. Oh, there it is, right there. So it's licensed under the GNU GPL. Okay? So GNU is a very important thing as well, because GNU, pronounced GNU, like the animal, is a public software license, and it's all about freedom. And if you truly want free software, then you should be using GNU software, GNU licensed software. So if we look up Linux, Wikipedia, Linux. So the Linux mascot, by the way, is Tux. And I just happen to have a Tux clock right here. Okay. So Tux is very cool. I found him in an antique shop here in Vegas, and everybody else just thought it was a clock, right? I knew immediately when I saw it, that's Tux. So I bought him. So Linux, the operating system, is licensed under the GPL version 2. So that means it's GNU software. It's free software. It means that you can download and use that software at no cost, and you can download the source code and learn how to modify it and put it out there as your own version of Linux. So if we go here to Linux distributions on Wikipedia, you're going to see a big list. See this big list right here? This big list, I'll make my screen big because we're going to need it for this. And why won't it let me zoom in? There we go. Okay. So this is the list of all the different Linux versions that are out there. And they all started with one core version of Linux, and then they downloaded it, and they modified it, and they re-released it. So for instance, this one here, it's called SMS. And SMS is derived off of the SLS Slackware version of Linux. So whoever made SMS started with SLS Slackware, and then they created SMS, and then they really re-released it out into the world. Same with all these different versions. Okay? Tons and tons of versions of Linux out there in the world. And most likely, whoever created these different versions created these different versions for a reason. And the reason is maybe they wanted it to do something special, right? So a lot of people often ask, well, Wayne, why do you have so many computers? Because I got all these old PCs that were hand-me-downs or literally thrown in the trash. I found one of my computers in the trash can. I went out to throw out my trash one day in the apartment I was living in, and there was a PC laying right on top. Like the case, just the case. No monitor, keyboard, or anything like that. And I said, well, why is someone throwing away a perfectly good computer? So I grabbed it out of the trash. And then I had plenty of keyboards and plenty of monitors and all that stuff. So I plugged it up, and all their information was still there. Like the hard drive, all their personal information, like everything was there. And I formatted the hard drive, so their data was safe with me. But just imagine if someone else picked up this computer and they had all their data in there. People just don't use their brain, right? You're supposed to dispose of your computers in a proper way. So like if you have in your town, you most likely have some type of donation center where you can donate your computer, and they responsibly destroy your data. So if you're going to throw away a computer, don't throw it away. Go donate it to one of these places, or give it to me, and I'll turn it into a Linux box, right? And that's why I have so many Linux boxes, is because people were getting rid of their computers or whatever. And I said, well, yeah, I'll take it, right? I can always use another box to run Linux on. Now, do I run these every day? No. But if I want to play around with a certain version of Linux, then I don't have to destroy my working computer that I work with every day. I can just go grab one of the boxes I have, plug up a keyboard and a mouse, and run Linux on it. So that's what we're looking at here, okay? So these are 3 different terminal windows. So like I said, this one here, if I run a VER on it, it says Microsoft version 10 point whatever, right? And then down here, if I run VER, that's not an actual command. So we have to figure out what the actual command is. And I'm not sure what the command is. So now we have AI, right? So let me open another terminal window here. And where is it? Right there. Okay, so I'm going to open another terminal window here. And I'm going to run that down here in the corner. So now I have 4 terminal windows on my computer and on my desktop. So in this folder, my KB folder, I'm going to run Claude. So now I'm running Claude inside of my terminal window, my PowerShell terminal window. So now let's ask Claude. How do I find the version of Ubuntu on Windows? It's thinking. And I have to check and see which model I'm running. Okay, so there's the command. And let me make this text bigger because you may not be able to read it. So on the PowerShell, I can run WSL --list --verbose. So I'm just going to copy that text and I'm going to paste it up here. And the cool thing about running this stuff on, well, the cool part about all terminals is you can just select the text and right click and it copies it. And then when you put the cursor where you want the text and you right click again, it pastes it. So that whole Control C, Control V thing, that's just a Windows thing, right? So I just ran WSL list verbose, and it says that I have 2 Linux installs basically running on my Windows machine. I have Ubuntu running version 2, and I have Docker Desktop, which is stopped, running version 2. Okay. Now, inside of the Ubuntu terminal, I can also run this command, which is lsb release -a, and it'll tell me from right inside my Ubuntu terminal that I'm running Ubuntu 24.04.3 LTS and codename Noble. And then over here, we already know I'm running Windows version 10. So basically, I'm running 3 different software systems inside of my Windows, but they're all running at terminal level. So it just shows you how powerful the terminal is and how core it is to your operating system. Let me jump over to my live session here and see if anyone's got any questions. Let's jump over to this window here. Okay, I don't see any questions on that one. Let's check over here. I don't see any questions on that one. And let me find my... Okay, someone said hi on YouTube. I'll say hi back. So thanks for watching. If you're still there, I don't know if you are or not. So yeah, now we've learned about the foundational aspects of the computer. Now, what can we do with that? We can do a whole lot with that, right? And let's actually try this command here. This is another command that we can run in our Ubuntu. And it cats out, which means show it on the screen, prints it out to the screen. And I'm trying to remember what the abbreviation of cat stands for. What does cat in the terminal stand for? I think it means concatenate something terminal. Yeah. It's called, it reads and displays file contents. It's called concatenate because it can combine or concatenate multiple files. So you can combine and display 2 files or 3 files, and then you can redirect that concatenate into another file. So let's do that. We're gonna cat this stuff that we printed on the screen, and we're gonna cat it with a redirect with the greater than arrow. We're gonna redirect it into a test.txt. And test.txt, if I spell it right, it's going to be in my local drive, right where I'm at right now. So if I type ls, then I can see that there's a file called test.txt. And if I cat test.txt, then it shows me the same thing. Because it basically copied the contents of that one file into another file. And that's what cat does. Cat actually displays it on the terminal, and then that little greater than symbol redirects it into another text file. So you can do all kinds of powerful commands at the terminal. You just have to know what they are. And the beauty of having AI is you can learn everything you want to learn about the terminal just by talking to AI. And you can learn anything you want. You can learn about coding. You can learn about, math. You can learn about whatever you want, which is really cool. Now, sure, you could do that on the internet as well, but it involves a lot of searching, right? You got to search, and then some websites are better than others, and some want to charge you, and some are free, and some maybe don't have the correct information. So the beauty of AI for anyone, young, old, maybe you don't know anything about AI, you can still use AI as a tutor to teach you stuff. Like I'm doing right here, okay? It's not like I use terminal and Unix every single day, so sometimes I forget about like how to use a command or whatever, or even what the command is. So I can just ask AI. I'm right here inside my Claude AI system, right inside my terminal. So I can just ask it, what are the common Linux commands? So it'll give me a list of all the common Linux commands. Okay, so here they are right here. Look at that, just give me a whole list. Here are the most common Linux commands organized by category. So if you want to deal with files and directories, here's all the common commands. You got ls for list files. You got cd for change directory. You got pwd for print working directory. You got mkdir for creating directories. rmdir for removing directories. rm for removing files. cp for copying files. mv for moving files. Find for searching. Okay? And there's a whole bunch of different commands here. So if you really want to get into the core of your computer and start really doing powerful stuff, then you need to be using terminal window. And that's why when people ask me, what AI do you prefer? I prefer the terminal window, right? And what AI works best in the terminal window? Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's Claude Code. So if you want to install Claude Code, then I'll show you how you can do that. Claude Code terminal. So I just did a Google search. So right down here, nope, that's how to use. Here we go, right here. Terminal guide for new users. So if you're on a Mac computer, you want to click on that one. If you're on a Windows computer, you want to click on that one. And then you want to follow the instructions for installing Claude in your terminal. So, for instance, on a Mac, you would press Command Space to open up the terminal. That's how you open a terminal on the Mac. And on Linux, you would use Control-Alt-T. And then you would run this curl command. So what is a curl command, you may ask, right? Well, let's go back to Claude, and we'll ask it, what is the curl command? Okay, here we go. So the curl command stands for client URL. It's a command line tool for making web requests and downloading files. So you know how you go to a website and you click on a link and you download a file like a PDF? Well, this is a command line version to do that same thing. How powerful is that? If you know the URL, you can just type curl and whatever syntax it requires, curl URL, and you can download that PDF right to your computer. So in this case, you're curling this .sh file, which is an install file. It's a shell script. And then it'll start installing Claude on your computer. And I know all this stuff sounds like Greek and it looks like Greek, but it's pretty basic. And it never changes. It's been the same for 50 years. So that's why I kind of know what the commands are, because I've used them in the past, but I may not have used them in years. But just a brief, playing around, I quickly remember stuff. So installing on Windows, here's a clickable link where you can download it. If you're using the PowerShell, you can open the PowerShell with WinX, and you can.
This is a reminder. Get on high level coaching.
Oops, time for my high level coaching call. So, in the terminal
This is a
PowerShell,
reminder. Get on high level coaching.
in the PowerShell, you can run this command, and it'll run Claude inside your terminal. Okay? So I think we're going to end this here because I need to do my high level session. So every Saturday and Sunday, I do multiple types of live streams. I do live streams about learning AI, and I also do live streams about learning high level. So I'm going to stop this session, but don't go anywhere because I'm going to restart a new session about high level. So let me go ahead and shut all this down, but don't go far because it's all going to come back again under a new label of learning high level. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, let's shut that down. And then let's shut this down.